I chose this movie because it remained the best movie that I ever seen. At the time watching this movie, I thought it was an amazingly emotional and hard-hitting movie. I had seen it many times before, but it's a great movie and worth watching again and again. So I chose this beyond any doubt. The Shawsank Redemption is a movie about two men. They seem very different at first. One of them, known in the movie as Red, performed by Morgan Freeman, was sentenced to life in prison for murder. He is guilty of his crime, but seems to have changed his ways in his 20 years in the prison. The other, Andy, performed by Tim Robbins, was sentenced to prison for murdering his wife and her lover. He maintains that he is innocent, and later in the movie, we find out if that's true. It shows that how important perseverance and hope to live the life, which story about Andy involved innocent of the charges and escaped from Shawshank prison, serving 20 years to life. And it shows a classic film material which contains imprisonment and escape in stage of a prison place. The reason why this movie made a deep impression to people is prison was expressed like metaphorically. In life, many people feel that there are such mighty walls of harsh reality which cannot move by us. And there are many circumstances which people living without the desire of the life that they want to really live to. And funnily enough, there are other symbolic metaphors. The Bible verses. As you can see in the movie scene, there are quotations of the Bible. In the prison governor's office, there are frames that embroidered with the quotation of the Bible. His judgment comes and that light soon. And there are other things. After he escaped the prison, when he opens the prison governor's Bible, it shows up, the book of Exodus. Ironically, all these quotations of the Bible match the evolution of the movie. It has a symbolic effect that connects with internal flow in this movie. And move on to the next topic, I want to talk about some discussions. In this movie, there are many symbols of freedom. This scene is the scene that all the prisoners set free the crow outside the small window. I think the crow represents the old prisoner because he was to live freely, but that is really not the case in reality. After he was released from prison, he cannot adapt the world out of the prison because he served his sentence in prison for 50 years. Unfortunately, he decided to go so far as to commit suicide. Though he chose extreme measure, I think he got a spiritual freedom. Anyway, there are other symbols of freedom. These scenes are famous scenes in this movie. First is the scene that Andy gives the music play to his companions. And Andy is absorbed in the music too, even if only few minutes. And the movie later said, "It is the briefest moment that we enjoy our free time." And other scene is Andy finally succeeds in escape the prison and he had his revenge on the corrupt prison governor who expiated a crime with death. I think this movie's the most notable thing is hope. So in this movie, Andy never gives up the chance to escape the prison. On the other hand, however, In this movie, prisoners in 1940s lived in dirty and poor conditions. They are criminals, of course, but they are infringed upon their human lives. In this scene, the reality of the human lives condition in prison was well exposed. Prisoners ate unwholesome food which was full of maggots, and the guards laid violent hands on prisoners. They made prisoners in a slightly deformed person or killed the prisoners with hesitation. And I want to talk about other realities that showed in this movie. There are such breaches of regulations. Today, prisoners never bring cigarettes into prison, but in this movie they could obtain cigarettes easily, and they took a puff openly. And they could be sexually abused by other prisoners, like Andy was assaulted. But Andy never gave up the chance to escape the prison, and put his plan into practice over many years. He was in the guard's favor by handling his tax problem, and he received beers in reward for helping the guard's problem, and he gave those beers to his companies. This is the first little freedom that he enjoyed. By the by, in fact, in 1949, there was no such bottled beer as in the movie. Anyway, finally he was in the prisoner governor's favor, and he carried through a plan step by step. So he started to bore a hole in the wall with his tiny stone hammer, and the posters of famous actresses played an important role to cover the hole. While passing through 20 years in prison, there was something changed. That is posters. In this movie, there are 3 posters of famous actresses. First is Rita Hayworth, who was the most famous actress of her day. And second was Marilyn Monroe, and third is Raquel Welch, who was the last girl hanged on Andy's wall and escaped with Andy. Those women are one of the most popular actresses of their generation, and they were the American sex symbols changed according to the times. We can notice about that the change of the times if we observe carefully. And this is by the by, third poster of Raquel Welch. In reality, there wasn't Raquel Welch's movie in that movie's time. That movie was released by 1967, and I found some flaw in the ointments in this movie, but it doesn't matter to understand the movie. Rather, it makes the movie more fun finding them. Anyway, the Shawsank Redemption is touching on the highest level. It makes you realize how even the most terrible of trials can yield a positive outcome. No matter what situation life has put you in, there is a way. There is hope. There is light-hearted lessons to be learned here. And I want to add one more thing. This is some inspirations from the Shawsank Redemption when I was watching this movie. It will be such lessons to me. Never give up even when you are living in hell. Respect others no matter what their educational, social, or intelligence levels. They can still be beneficial to you in ways unforeseen, and you can benefit them too. Not to mention having fun times sometimes. Always believe in yourself, even when others are saying, "No, it's not possible," or tell you to give it up.